I think as long as we've got a celebrate eyesight,
Traffic's horrendous. It's taken me 40 minutes from Chatham. Yeah, on the bus. Oh, get the bus, it'll be quicker.
Okay, good afternoon everybody, it's lovely to see you and thank you for braving the traffic in Hull today and the weather and the rugby result as well, unless you don't know. Hands up if you don't know the rugby result. Okay, yeah, we can mourn the rugby result. So thank you very much for coming today and welcome to the Central Library. We are live on the internet, and I do know that there are some people who are tuning in across the country, but we are also live across the world. So, as I'm going to explain in a minute, it is an international prize, and I know some people probably aren't tuned in. I think our entrants from New Zealand and Australia may not be tuned in at the moment, but they will be able to watch it. So, the recording of this will be available on the Hull Library's YouTube channel for the foreseeable future. So if you enjoy it and you'd like friends and family to watch, then ask them to tune in on the Hull Library's YouTube channel, and they'll be able to see what goes on and to listen to the winning entries as well. So my name's Jessica, and if you entered the Valwood Prize this year, you'll be receiving emails from me. So it's really nice to have a few people here that I can put some names to faces, because I send out lots of emails and I don't know people, so it's lovely to actually be able to see people that have been receiving emails. I'd like to thank you for entering the prize this year. It's been a really tricky year, I think. The theme that Val set, and she'll be talking a little bit more about it, was love letters. And on the surface, that seems to be quite a straightforward thing to write, a love letter. But actually, I think it was very hard, and we got a huge number of entries in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. And here I can talk to some of our lovely volunteer readers who were our reading panel for shortlisting, who ploughed their way through, I think it was 627 entries, which was an awful lot of reading. And we'll know that they came in all shapes and sizes, all sorts of characters, in the letters, all different kinds of love reflected as well, and that was really interesting. What we do with the prize, the entries come to the Central Library, and then they come through our email systems. We do all our reading and judging anonymously, so every entry is allocated a number. So our readers get numbers 1 to 20 to read, and that's all they know about it. And then we get together once the competition is closed, and we've had a little bit of reading time at the end of that, because obviously a lot of people will send their entry off right on that moment of closure. So we have to get those read as well. And then we get together and we go through and we decide what the shortlist is going to be. We don't have a set number of entries for the shortlist because we like to be able to send Val the best of the entries that we receive. So rather than saying we're going to get this down to 10, we'll say, let's see what we get. And once we get to what we think is a reasonable number, we say, right, that's our shortlist for this year, and we're happy with it. So we do that in, I think it takes us 2.5 hours, and we actually do achieve it in that time, which is logistically really clever. But we do get it down there. Then I send those entries, still only with their numbers, to Val, and Val reads, and she makes the final judgment on who the prize winners are going to be. So everything is done as fairly as possible. It's all anonymous because we do have friends and family, and we have people that have entered the prize since we started in 2015. 16.
Was it 16? Was it 16?
No, 2015. 2015 is the 48. Yeah.
15.
Yeah. But anyway, since the beginning of the prize, so we have lots of people that have entered every single year. So they become friends, and they're names that we know. So we think it's the fairest thing to do it as anonymously as we can. Now, Val's going to talk to you again about her inspiration behind the prize and about the themes. But for us, this prize has come about for the library service because Val asked if we could do something that would encourage local writers. So we started the prize as we didn't say it was for local writers in the Yorkshire area, but we expected our entrants to be from the Yorkshire area. And the very first year, we were amazed because we started to get entries from all over the UK. And we were thrilled about that as well, because the purpose behind it is to celebrate writing, the joy of writing, and just to have that chance to give people something, a theme, the start of a story, just something to help them shape a piece of creative writing that they can then send and share. Following on from that, second year, we started to get entries from other countries. And this year, I haven't ended up all the countries yet, but we have had entries from all over the world. And the countries that do come to mind are the USA, Canada, New Zealand, Australia, India, Nigeria, Ghana, Tanzania, the Seychelles, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Israel, Greece, France, Norway, Sweden. It just goes on, and it is wonderful. I think it's absolutely wonderful that a prize in Yorkshire is actually reaching all those people, and because of technology, we can actually share that joy of writing across the world in that way, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. So it truly is an international prize, and that makes us really excited. So I'm going to hand over to Val now. So Val has been an absolute supporter and stalwart of library support in Hull and the East Riding for a long time. She is an award-winning author who has written lots of books, 26.
25 coming out this year.
Yeah.
This month.
Yeah. So 25 wonderful novels set in this area that reflect our local history, but also have relevance on a much wider scale. And Val does have an international following as well, and I'm sure that that is key in the success of our prize and why we get so many authors from across the world. So I'm going to hand you over now to Val Wood.
Thank you, Jessica. Actually, Jessica and all her team I want to say welcome, of course, first of all, to you. I'm so pleased that you've come. Wet, horrible day. It's so good that you can hear to support what we're doing and to support the right to be entered, maybe win a prize. It's just wonderful that you're able to do that. It's just so very gratifying that people will actually do that. What I want to say is thank you very much to Jessica, who has really put all efforts into helping us with this prize, and I can't believe how many people have sent in stories now. But also to the library staff, our wonderful volunteers. I was just telling someone downstairs about the volunteers and how you see them everywhere there's an event, there's a volunteer, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. And I don't know how we ever managed without you. It's just such an enormous effort on the part of everybody. They tell me they love doing it anyway, which is just brilliant. But for Jessica and her team, and all of you who I know are here, not all of you, but some of you are here, for this huge effort to collate and collect and send them off and read them all and read them again and read them again. Then they come to me, and I do the same kind of thing, really. I read all of the letters that come through, and then I pick some out that have pulled my heartstrings and put them on one side. And I wait a day or two, and then I read them all again. And sometimes I'll pull out more from that original shortlist. As Jessica said, I don't know who they are, but I know a lot of authors in this area, a lot of writers. I don't want to know their names, so they're all numbered here. And I pull them out and make a little note of their names of characters so that it reminds me of what it's about. And then I pull out some more. Sometimes I'll pull out another one or two from the original long list and read those again. And that way I am making my own shortlist so that I can choose a winner. So that's the way I do it. I love reading short stories. I have to say I'm rubbish at writing them because I write long, very long. You should see my emails, they are pretty long too. They can't be short. But I was something like 10 years following Tutor, where we only ever wrote short stories, pieces of prose, sometimes a bit of poetry. And that way you actually cut your teeth on short stories, because a good short story is concise. You can't put too many words in because that doesn't make it a short story. You have to get all the detail into a few words. And to do that, what it means is that you're actually learning your craft rather than jumping straight into a novel. So I was 10 years or so. I used to send off my short stories to Women's Own, Weekly, that sort of thing, and they always came back. And that's because I hadn't researched properly. I didn't read those magazines, but I did read historical novels, not short stories. And when I first began my first book, I began it as a short story, writing about the erosion of the coast here in East Yorkshire, and I put a family on the edge of the cliffs. And then I realised, actually, I'd started that wrong. I started in the middle instead of at the beginning. So I scrapped that and began again, and that became a novelist, because at heart, I have a long story to tell. With a short story, you have to get everything in 1 or 2 pages and in fewer words. And that's a brilliant way of actually learning your craft. So now, I also want to say thank you to the James Reckitt Trust, of course, for giving us funding for the prizes, and also IFP, who are Informed Financial Planning, and they too gave us funding for the prize. I'm really pleased. So can I give you a clap now, Jessica? I'm so wonderful and compliant about doing something wonderful with this quite a simple idea to begin with. So those of you who have been here before, and I think maybe, well, quite some of the volunteers, you've been before as well? Yes, yes. You will know then the reason why we started the short story. I won a prize in 1993 with that very first novel that I'm telling you about. And so I wanted to give something back, to give somebody else a chance of writing. And not particularly to be a published short story writer or a published novelist, but to actually gain that pleasure, that pleasure of writing. Because creativity is so much for the soul, I feel anyway. It just makes a whole difference to your life. So yeah, that was it really. It was just giving a chance to other would-be writers. So now we're going to read some stories, and I will announce the names of the runners-up to begin with.
We'll pronounce each name, Barry, and we'll read that one.
All right, right, well, we've got Star-Crossed Wires. And this is the American one. So who's going to read?
We're going to read this, yes.
You're going to read this between.
Yeah, so this is a highly commended entry. So we have a first prize, a second prize, and 2 highly commended. And this is a winner of the first highly commended. And this is a short story by Debbie Tam, who, as Val quite rightly says, is from USA. So I hope she's going to be watching this at some point. But we're going to just read it, and there's 2 of us because there's 2 voices in this.
Star-Crossed Wires. Hello, I haven't received my order. However, your system indicates that the item was delivered. This is an error, or one of my neighbours took my order. Please check on order number 457214P32 and resend. Thank you, John Owen.
Dear customer, account number 8916832. Order number 457214P32, Loves Confederate, was delivered Saturday, November 1st. Please check your lobby, front porch and neighbours for the delivery. Thank you for shopping with us. The Source Corporation.
Hello. First, your reply to my email made it painfully obvious that you used some sort of computer-generated response. Just an FYI, it is incredibly insulting to get a canned response when a customer takes the time to write you. It demonstrates a new zenith in corporate callousness that I didn't even think was possible. Second, you didn't even bother referring to me by name. See above why this is just awful. Third, I already told you that I didn't get my order, so why would you suggest I check my lobby, front porch and neighbours? Do you think I'm thick? Of course I check my lobby, that's where my packages are usually delivered. And no, I will not check my neighbours. The apartment on my left constantly emits an odour of cabbage throughout the 3rd floor. I don't want to encourage him to open his door under any circumstances. The wretched single mother on the right probably wouldn't hear me ring her doorbell over screaming as her demon offspring apparently bounce off the walls and crash into every bric-a-brac in the home. Excuse me, but did you receive my delivery? Book 4 in a series of body strippers by Destiny Chastain. You see, I read books like this because I'm a lonely 30-plus-year-old woman who works from home and barely leaves the house. The fact that I have graced your threshold to talk to you is a momentous occasion. So please tell me you've got my order and kindly fetch it so I can experience what limited joy I have in my life. Not going to happen. Send me a new copy. Seriously, the book costs $6.99. It's not worth losing a customer over it. Joanne Owen.
Dear Ms. Owen, please allow me to apologise on behalf of the Source Corporation. You are completely right. That was a canned reply, and we can definitely do better. You wouldn't believe it, but too many times we sent a replacement only to be told the order was shoved into some corner of the front porch, or that a neighbour subsequently dropped it off. It was indeed condescending to assume that this was the case for you. It's apparent by your witty and sarcastic retort you possess a superior intellect. I am shipping a replacement immediately by next day shipping. I can imagine after reading book 3, Union on the Battlefield, You were wondering if Penelope Whitstone gives up the name of her lover. I won't spoil it for you. Anyway, I work from home too, so I know how it is. Actual interactions become difficult because those skills get rusty. It's no exaggeration when I say I haven't stepped out in the light of day once since I don't know when. Please expect your book by noon. If you don't get the order, please email directly at adam@thesourcecorp.com. Yours truly, Adam. P.S. I'm not a fan of cabbage either.
Dear Adam, I got the delivery this morning. Can't thank you enough. Your email was so refreshing compared to the types of emails I usually get from online sellers. What a difference in service when someone personally gets involved. By the way, I did end up checking with Mr. Cabbage and Wretched Single Mom. Neither got my delivery. I guess it will just be a mystery. Thanks again, Joanne Owen. P.S. The outside is overrated. You aren't missing much. I went out last week and it's too bright and loud. If I didn't have to go to physical therapy every week, I would leave the apartment. I got into a car accident 5 months ago and I'm still at it. They say I'll get better. I think they're lying.
Joanne, glad you got it. I'm shipping book 5, United in Love, today, free of charge. Shh, don't tell. You know, I was thinking about Wretched Single Mum. She might just be overwhelmed all the time. She could probably use some company and maybe a babysitter. Just a thought. I'll stay away from Mr. Cabbage though for obvious reasons. Physical therapy can be slow and painful, but it's going to pay off in the end. Don't give up. I don't get out at all. Circumstances just don't allow it. But this job makes the time go by, and meeting you has made it more bearable. I've never talked to a customer like this before. I'm glad I did. Adam.
Adam, you really didn't have to send book 5, but thank you. I'm glad I met you too, even if we did get off on a rocky start. I thought about what you said about Wretched Single Mom, so I went over and introduced myself. She has a name, and it's Pauline. Her 2 little boys are Timothy and Jason. They're scamps, but so cute. Why don't you get out more? I'm not a fan of the outside, but I managed to hobble my way over to the park with the boys so Pauline could get her nails done. The outside wasn't half bad, so scratch what I said last night. The website says the customer service hub is in Olympia, Washington. I'm just in Bremerton. Well, you already know that. Are you in the Olympia area? I know you work from home, but I thought maybe you were around here. We could meet for coffee sometime? Just a thought. Joanne.
Joanne, our main customer success centre is in Olympia, but I'm actually in San Jose, California. I'd love to meet you for coffee one day. I can't believe you took my advice. It's great you made a friend. I'm happy for Pauline too. I can't help but feel jealous she gets to hang out with you. Maybe you could make a trip to California sometime. Not sure how long I can hold on to this job though. It was good while it lasted. Mr. Chen has been checking on me a lot lately. He said I'm operating outside of the usual protocols. I think he's been reading our emails, but I don't care. I'm going to keep writing if you keep replying. Adam.
Adam, I don't want to get you into any trouble at work, but selfishly, I don't want to stop writing either. Maybe we should exchange numbers and move this offline. I sometimes wonder what your voice sounds like, what you look like. I'm attaching a pic of me with Tim and Jason. I hope it's not too disappointing. No pressure to send one back though, I am dying of curiosity. Here's my number. We are in the same time zone, so that's a plus. You really aren't that far away, just a long car trip. Maybe after I buy a new car. I've been putting it off since the accident, but if we can meet, I'm heading out to the dealership today. Just kidding. Anyway, Mr. Chen, if you're reading this, Adam is your best employee. You better not fire him. Give me a call. Joanne. I came on too strong, didn't I? You haven't answered my last 3 emails. I like you, Adam. We can just be friends. It was the photo, wasn't it? It's been a month. Did Chen fire you? Dear Mr. Chen, I'm writing in regard to a customer service rep, Adam. Recently, he handled a delivery issue and provided great support. I just want to say what an incredible asset Adam is to your organisation, and his personal touch gives your company heart. It would be a shame to lose such a stellar employee. Sincerely, Joanne Owen.
Dear Ms. Owen, thank you for your feedback on the Source Corporation's new AI customer support system, Adam, Automated Delivery of Account Management. We are happy that you're pleased with the results of this pilot program. However, we cannot take all the credit. While Adam possesses a unique learning system to deliver a tailored customer experience, it was Adam's interactions with you that proved invaluable. For this, we are indebted. You were just the top customer we needed to evaluate Adam's effectiveness. Based on the seamless interactions, we will be rolling out ADAM 2.3. Again, we thank you for your participation in the BEADS test. Please accept this $25 gift code to be used for your future purchases. Sincerely, Henry Chen.
And the next one, which was, I remember, Pat and Jim.
And Pat and Jim is written by Jan McCarthy. And Jan's from the UK. She couldn't be here today, but I do believe she may well be watching us. So if you are, Jan, well done. So this is Pat and Jim, and it's a two-hander again. So once again, Suzanne is going to be the lady, and I'm going to be the bloke. But I can guarantee I'm not a computer automated. Thank you.
Pat and Jim. Dear driver, hello. Did you know you've been driving the same route for nearly 30 years? That's how long I've been taking the number 23 into town and out again. And as time went by, growing in hope that every time it would be you driving the bus. Always with a smile, always gentle on the brakes, unlike one or two of your colleagues who seem to enjoy throwing us passengers about in all directions. I've seen them look in the mirror and actually grin at our attempts to stay on our feet. When they train them, they should probably make them take one of those "Are you a psychopath" tests before they let them loose on the general public. What a patient soul you must be. I work in cleaning and I've changed jobs a lot, wherever they pay the best wages. And I haven't had anywhere near the exposure to strangers that you have every day. Cleaners pass unseen. I've enjoyed that about my work. The anonymity, the quiet. It leaves you time to think your own thoughts. My parents had high hopes for me. I was bright, did well at school, but I didn't want to go into a profession. I saw the wear and tear on them, and I promised myself I'd go for something less stressful, whatever they thought of me. I reckon that, like me, you prefer not to have the weight of the world on your shoulders. You seem happy in a supporting role. I haven't really told you much about myself in this letter, because I don't want to rush in and put you off, but I have to tell you that you've been an ever-fixed mark in my life since I started catching your bus. Whatever I've had to face, your smile and your calm voice, saying the same few phrases, have helped me believe that there are some good things that never change, good things I can rely on. By the way, ever-fixed mark is Shakespeare, but don't worry, I don't go around quoting all the time. I was reminded of it watching a Jane Austen film with my daughter last week. It's from a sonnet I studied at school and never forgot. I'm a bit of a Shakespeare fan. Both my parents worked at the theatre. I've watched many plays from the wings. I hope you'll read my letter. Handing it over has taken a lot of nerve. I'm scared you'll think you have a crazy old lady stalker. If you don't answer, I won't push, I promise you that. For all I know, you're married. But if you're a free man and would like to meet for tea and a chat, look out for me on the bus. I'm the lady with the purple coat and the pink flowery scarf. My name's Pat. If you call me by my name next time I get on your bus, then at least I know you've read this. I've always thought of you as Jim. I wonder if I'm right. Yours, Pat.
Dear Pat, hello back. Isn't it dark? We've shared journeys all these years and never got to know each other's first names. However, did you guess mine? Maybe you've heard one of my colleagues use it when we've swapped drivers before. I don't mind James, which is what I was christened, but don't call me Jimmy if you want me to answer, as the saying goes. I'm glad you wrote. Please don't be embarrassed. You blushed this morning when I said, hello, Pat. No need. I think it's lovely that you've written to me. People should be more like you, friendly to people they've seen 1,000 times over the years, like next door neighbours almost. First off, I want to reassure you that I haven't got a wife at home. My dear Alice died 5 years ago. She had a few heart attacks, so at least we had time to prepare for the worst. It was a happy marriage. I've been on my own since, though my children are always on at me to get on one of those dating websites. I always tell them that if fate wants me to be with a new lady, it'll happen naturally. Like you, I don't like to be pushing. Secondly, thank you for saying that about me. How I've made you feel better about life. I agree about needing something fixed to rely on. I see so many people who let themselves just get carried along and never seem to hold on tight to anything. Funnily enough, you've done the same thing for me. I have noticed you. It's your coats and scarves, which are always nice matching cheerful colours, and your smile. Also, the way you always say thank you when you get off the bus. You'd be surprised how many people who get off after you say thank you as well. I think it's because they've heard you say it and think it's a good idea. When I read your letter, which was so nicely written, so understanding about life, I didn't hesitate about answering. I'd love to have tea with you, Pat, with the purple coat. How about a cream tea at that place by the bus terminus next Saturday afternoon? 3 o'clock, suit you? I think we'll be good at finding things to talk about. I like Shakespeare too, by the way. It gets me hot under the collar when folks say they hate him, when he did so much for our language and being realistic about our fellow humans. Just drop me a quick note about tea. I'm the only driver called Jim, so you can always give a message to one of the other drivers and they'll see I get it. Hope you can make it. Yours, Jim.
Dear Jim, Saturday afternoon was such fun. Thank you for treating me to tea. You really shouldn't have. Next Saturday is on me and no arguments. And thank you for dealing with that hissing swan. He did look terrifying with his wings out. Why he went for me, I don't know. Maybe swans don't like purple. I'll wear a green coat next time. I have a nickname for you, Jim the Bird Whisperer. I've never seen anyone do swan impersonations before. It was a revelation. Normally, I feel a bit melancholy this time of year, when the leaves are turning and there's another long, cold winter ahead. But this year, I feel different. I've got something to look forward to every Saturday. Your good conversation and holding onto your arm along the river walk and having someone to go to the theatre with. I think it's Twelfth Night next, one of my favourites. And yes, I would like to try out that new Thai place for dinner. I looked up the reviews last night and they're very promising. My daughter wanted to know where I was all last Saturday afternoon. She said it was dark when you got home, Mum. As if there should be a curfew for women my age. I told her I'd been for tea and a walk with a friend I met on the bus. I agree with you that we should keep things between us for now. The kids will only want to interfere, maybe even chaperone us, as if we could get into any trouble at our age. See you same time, same place. Looking forward to it. Your friend, Pat.
Dearest Pat, What a pity we haven't got any letters since that early one where you wrote about the swan attack. Wouldn't it have been a lovely thing to have a record of these past 2 years? I'm giving this one to your daughter to hide in your suitcase. I'm writing it in the bar, getting ready to meet the other drivers and my son for what I've insisted will be a very respectable stag party. Any sign of anything untoward and I'll be in a taxi and straight back home. I'm too old and sensible to go gallivanting, and a late night out won't do anything for my looks tomorrow when I see you at the register office. I'm not a religious man, as you know, but I can't help thinking it was some kind of divine intervention that made you write me that letter first. I feel so happy tonight, knowing you're going to be my wife, and we're going to spend the rest of our lives together. It's mercy or grace or good karma, or whatever's stacking up for us while we're patiently living our lives with no thought of gain or profit. My darling Pat, whatever happens in the years to come, like it says in the wedding vows, I'll be proud to be by your side. I'm looking forward to waking up with you on Sunday morning and bringing you the first of many cups of tea. Ever your loving, Jim.
I love these two. I like the fact that with Chris and Jim, it was no kind of friendship which turned into love. And why not? Why shouldn't it? And we're going to start crosswise. I didn't get it to begin with at all. I just thought it was a bit quirky, but obviously with American writing, the spelling mostly. But just so different. And I think it's really nice to have that humour in there. So that was the reason that I chose those two as the extra ones at the end. And for the two winners, we have a winner and we have a second one. So we'll read the second one. Make sure I get the right one. I haven't put a name, of course, but it is number 175.
Right, so the second prize winner is by Julie Evans, who's also from the UK and hopefully will be watching. She couldn't be with us today. My darling Meha, as I write, I'm imagining you rummaging through the mail, frowning at bills and flyers, and then, what is this? An obsolete thing. A handwritten envelope, a stamp franked with our own London postcode. A letter. In fact, a love letter. You probably think it's odd for me to write to you when we've been together for so long. And a love letter seems so old-fashioned now, a throwback to those 19th century novels you used to read in our student days. I feel as though I ought to write with a quill, seal the paper with wax and transfer it secretly into your hand in a rose garden. But as you see, this letter of mine is a little more prosaic. Blue biro on recycled printer paper. Spindly letters untidy across the page. I hope you can read it. You always said that my handwriting was seismological, the low letters like a lazy slide of tectonic plates. Then those sudden earthquake spikes on the occasional T and L. Your handwriting is you in a nutshell, you once said. Surprisingly unpredictable. I'm trying to get proper letter writing paper, Basildon Bond, but no one seems to sell it now. The girl in the shop looked at me quizzically when I asked Basildon Bond. She said, frowning, "What's that? A fox puppet?" "That's Basil Brush," I said, and she laughed. Well, we both laughed. We used to write to each other on blue Basildon Bond, remember? Or later on thin origami airmail paper when I was stationed in Germany. Long, long letters, the ink flowing from the pen so effortlessly. Final thoughts squeezed in tight at the bottom of the page. You loved those little drawings I sprinkled around the margins. The sergeant with the big moustache. The Fraulein who delivered the mail with an even bigger one. The anticipation of your reply kept me going all through those 2 years. I would save your letters until bedtime, fingers itching to open the seal, and then read them over and over under torchlight when everyone was asleep. The lads joked around about my Swedish girlfriend. They imagined you as Anita Ekberg, a voluptuous blonde with ice blue eyes instead of the dark, mysterious creature I had fallen for. Sitting here now, with paper and pen in front of me, it seems hard to write. I have keyboard fingers. My hand curled around the pen feels unnatural, and my writing muscles unexercised. But true writing comes from a pen. The very act of moving it across the page lets the heart speak more freely. And I want to write, because I can never find the words to say. I've tried, but they stop in my throat. To say I love you seems not enough. I hear those words all the time at the end of people's phone conversations on trains and in cafes. Love you is the same now as goodbye. The word is bandied about so often that it sounds too casual when I say it out loud. So I have no choice but to write it down. I suppose you might say, now you decide to tell me how you feel, now that it's too late. But it's not too late. I want you. No, scrub that out. I need you to know how it is with me, how it has always been and how it will be till the end. And who knows, beyond the end. I am old. You have to indulge my nostalgia, Maya. I remember our first flat in Islington, the swarm of blue bottles in the chimney, that swirly carpet that hid 1,000 past tenant stains, 6pence in the metre for hot water, our excuse for showing love. Those nights we spent there, just the two of us, coal on the fire, a bottle of cheap plonk from the off licence. We could only afford buttered toast for dinner, but we didn't care then how we lived. We were drunk on just being together, on the future that offered itself to us, and on the sex, of course, don't forget the sex. Then we acquired things and homes, and then the children came. When you were pregnant, you were even more beautiful than before. I used to watch you when you slept. You got so big with the twins that you couldn't sleep on your side, and I loved the way your hair spread out across the pillow when you were lying on your back. Your hair was so dark then, like ink, and thick, un-Scandinavian gypsy hair. I would coil it around my fingers, mesmerised by the spring in it, where it snapped back into ringlets. I suppose it was just family life that got in the way of romance. Maybe it does for everyone. I felt the weight of responsibility so acutely, especially when the kids were small, and every day seemed to bring a series of tasks to be completed. I know I took my frustrations out on you sometimes, all that sulking, the peevish arguments. Not that you didn't give as good as you got. No one can ever call you a shrinking violet, Leah, that's for sure. But I think for a while I stopped seeing what was right in front of me. It was like that sensational view from our summer stuga in Hajaro. On the day we got the keys, it was a warm day, and do you remember? We sat with a glass of wine at the end of the garden until the darkness fell, looking out over the lake. There was a column of bright moonlight reflecting the water in the distance, silver gold, an untouchable thing shimmering and changing shape. But it felt as though the whole vision was private, belonged only to us. So simple, water, moon, night. But I had never seen anything more exquisite. As time went by, though, that scene became a familiar backdrop, and I sometimes forgot to look at it, to remember how extraordinary it was, and I allowed myself to be distracted. What I did then was stupid and cruel and selfish. I'm not sure you ever believed me, but truly it lasted only weeks. And I will never forgive myself, even though you have forgiven me. You are my column of moonlight, Leah. So elemental, yet at the same time so frangible. I always broke you, my moonlight will-o'-the-wisp, and I'm so sorry. And now here we are, older and wiser. It's strange, but when I really think about it, it's sometimes the bits you say you hate that I love the most. Your curves, the smile lines around your eyes, your crooked toes, how you swear in Swedish under your breath. I love the way you talk to inanimate objects, guiding screws gently into holes, apologising to old clothes that you take to the charity shops. I love the way you sigh when you read, the way you curl into a chair like a cat. I've hated you being in hospital these past weeks. It's been so cold and so eerily quiet, especially in bed at night. I'm used to the little noises you make, those tiny snuffles as though you're dreaming of foraging in woodlands. And our bed felt so wrong without the counterbalance of you beside me. It will be better now. Don't let's talk about the future. We both know how it will be. I just want to enjoy every day with you, to take care of you the way you've always taken care of me. There's snow on the way, they say, sent especially for you. Heavy snow to remind you of home. I know Sweden is still home, despite all the years that we've lived here. The journey is too much to think of, my love, but I will create a little Sweden for you. I'll have your favourite scent, the salt licorice, the lingonberry jam, and we'll have them with egg coffee in front of the fire. Let's go out in the snow when it comes, just into the garden perhaps, so you can breathe it and touch it. I remember how it was in Hajara, in the unreal half-light of a snowy morning, when you would transform into a winter spirit, a Tomtsenisa, rushing downstairs to put your boots on, to be the first to run across the pristine white lawn before the road in, or the dog or the kids got there. I'd watch you from the bedroom window, chuckling at your silliness, at your delight. I don't want to think about life without you. I can't imagine it. I'm thankful for what you've given me, and for what you will give me again in these final months. I will never leave you. I will hold tight onto every beat of your heart, every rise and fall of your breath. I love you, Tom.
I thought that was lovely. It was not sentimental at all. It said it as it was, beautifully phrased, and yes, somehow we knew there was going to be a sadness at the end. But it was not pushed in our faces, was it? It all came very naturally, as kind of life does. I thought it was really very well written.
I would just like to apologise to Julie for my Swedish pronunciations, because I have no idea.
And now we have the winning story. And again, this is one that I've read first of all and put it on one side and pulled others out that I think I said before, which I liked. And then I went back again to the original ones, and I thought this actually is an almost perfect short story. As you can see, it's a page and a half, but it tells the full story without any sentimentality. It is a love story, and I thought it just ended perfectly. This is number 196.
So our first prize winner is Susan Ozu.
Susan, where did she come from?
She comes from the UK.
From the UK. Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
Yeah.
Now we have volunteers, don't we?
Yep. Yep, so he's going to read this. You're welcome to sit down, so you don't have to stand to read.
My darling Nico, I've been thinking of writing this letter for a long time, but it's never been quite the right moment. I was afraid of tripping up on my way down memory lane, of being unable to find the words to do justice to what we had. This is for you, Nico, for me, for us, the girl and boy we left behind. That summer, all those years ago, before social media, before so many other things, defines who I am today. I had a place to read French at Warwick University and thought it would be useful to find a summer job in the country of Moliere, so that's what I did. Backbreaking physical work in an orchard in Normandy. Laurie Lee had his cider with Rosie, I had my cider with Nico. You were the farmer's son, back from university for the summer. The harvest was early that year. You helped out, but you weren't some rusty-cheeked country boy. You had ambitious plans for the future. We got talking on my second evening after supper, when you squeezed in next to me at the long wooden table where the workers ate. You were so different to the other boys I knew at that time. For a start, you never stopped talking. Your mind was as sharp as a diamond, and you woke me up, made me see things differently, challenged me. You wouldn't let me get away with my usual sulky. So what? I was expected to think. I floundered at first, but I learned fast. Picking holes in your argument until touché, you would give me one of those annoying Gallic shrugs and quickly change the subject. My French improved so much. Your English less so, as I love to hear you speak in your native tongue. You sounded like you in French. You spoke so fast, your voice soft, caressing, the words tumbling out of your mouth, hot off your brain. You were studying civil engineering. You were articulate, pragmatic, and clever, and for 6 weeks I forgot about being shy and concentrated on being my best me. I wanted you to like me. Of course, I fell in love with you. You were beautiful, not handsome, slim and fluid, your movements as graceful and assured as a cat. I liked to watch you light a cigarette, the soft click of the lighter, the golden flame, the way your eyes narrowed as you inhaled, followed by the graceful flip of your wrist as you slid back into the conversation. It was your ritual, a way of punctuating all those thoughts. Carpe diem, you'd say, and carpe diem we did. You opened up my heart and showed me that life could fizz with laughter and joy, that it was possible to make the most of each moment, and there was nothing wrong with being happy. Your laugh, that loud surprise yelp when you found something funny. I hear my sons making a similar sound and it makes me smile. It's said that young love is the deepest. It's certainly the shiniest, brightest and most raw. Fearless, we sped along those narrow country lanes on your motorbike. Smell the flowers, you'd shout, but as I leaned into you, all I could smell was you, that gritty mixture of sun-kissed skin and nicotine. It made me want to cry. Every moment we spent together was packed with new experiences. I smoked my first cigarette in a small dark cafe near the port in Dieppe. I felt so dizzy I thought I was going to pass out. You laughed and held me steady as we stumbled out into the fresh air and told me smoking was bad for my health. With you I tasted the ripest camembert I've ever seen, a creamy yellow gunk that smelled like death, tasted divine. I made you baked beans on toast out of a can I brought over in my suitcase. After a few mouthfuls, you put your fork down and told me it was the strangest thing you'd ever eaten. You weren't my first, but you were the one who showed me what my body could feel. I was like your guitar. You strummed my soul and my body sang your song. We came together in a kiss that tasted of apples, and for 6 amazing weeks, I was your Eve. I lost weight without trying. I wasn't hungry because you satisfied all my needs. You never said you loved me, but I know you felt something. I still got that photo, the one of us standing together in the dappled sunlight of the orchard. Your arms slung across my shoulders, and you're looking at me, not at the camera. You look like you don't want to let me go. There were no fragile promises to be broken. There wasn't to be a tomorrow, as we'd already had the best of today. I swallowed down the tears as I waved to you from the ferry. Always the gentleman, you'd come to see me off, but I made sure I was the first to turn away. I had to. The pain of watching you leave would have broken me. I married a man who looks a little like you, dark hair, blue eyes. I definitely have a type, but in other ways he's completely different. He's my rock, and we've built a life together, a roller coaster life full of good times and bad. I sometimes wonder if you married someone like me, a crazy girl with candy floss lips and funky hair, someone who makes you laugh. I hope life has treated you well, my darling. I like to think of you building bridges in Asia or overseeing a nuclear power station in France. Perhaps you went into finance and have your own hedge fund. I'm sure that whatever you've done, you're a success. I was such a bad cook when you knew me. Who would have thought that one day I'd have my own restaurant? I worked as a translator for a while after leaving university, but went back to college to train as a chef. No, we don't serve baked beans, but we do sell a local cider, and sometimes after a long day, I'll pour myself a small glass. It never fails to cheer me up. Before I sign off, I want to say one last thing. I know it's easy to find people these days, but I've never looked for you, and I never will. For me, you will always be 21 and perfect. I don't want you to be anything else. My memories of that summer are too precious to share. They rise unbidden to the surface, taking me by surprise, making my middle-aged heart beat just that little bit faster. A split second of pure happiness when I connect with my younger self. A tiny quiver in time when I think, what if? Forever yours, Alex.
Thank you, Sue, for reading that so beautifully. Right, so we've heard from our 4 prize winners, but we did have a shortlist of 14 people, and we do have certificates for all of our shortlisted authors as well. Unfortunately, the vast majority of people can't be here today, and if they're not here, then these will be posted out to them. But Val, do you want to just run through the names of our shortlisted authors? So these are people that were on the shortlist, they haven't won a prize, but were included on that shortlist.
We have Sally Hewitt for letters. Is there Sally Hewitt here? No.
No, I don't think anyone's here.
Okay. Oh goodness, have I to pronounce that?
Sorry.
Sorali Chotnikar. That was for My Love. Templeton Moss for Late August. Chloe Richardson for Dear Tomorrow. Robin Camber, that's R-O-B-Y-N, so I suspect it probably is a woman, for Dear Father. John Allen for Dear Jess. Phil Johnson for Reunion. Megan Sparrow for A Vow to the Man I Will Love. And Joanne Sean for Never Stop Looking.
And Joanne is here, so we join
You're very welcome.
I'm sorry for being upset with this.
It was a bit hard reading that, but it's all perfectly true. Yes.
Thank you, well done. So before we finish there, I just wanted to say a couple of thank yous of my own. As you can see, we have our wonderful volunteers here, but also Suzanne, who's a staff team member, and Annie was in earlier on. There are some other people as well who were the reading panel for this year, and it's been a phenomenal task, and we could not do this without you. So thank you from me and from Val, as she said earlier on, for your support too.
Thank you, Jessica, again. It's been lovely. The weather, everything else, the fact that we have so many short stories from so many places would make it almost impossible for more to come. Yeah, but it's been absolutely phenomenal, really phenomenal, lovely. Young lady here, and yes, you. Who was the short story right here? You. And what was yours called?
It was Love Letters.
Or what?
Love Letters.
Love letters. That one I just read out now.
No,
It isn't. Okay.
no,
Oh,
I don't think that one was shortlisted, unfortunately, this year.
Ah. next time, next year, you promise to come back, write another story, and perhaps you would as well? Yes, that would be great. And I was going to say, what about our volunteers? You have so much experience now, so much. We will have to think of a good theme. Two good themes, actually.
We are actually changing the prize for next year, so please do look out for it, and I will email to everybody when we have some information, but next year there will be two prizes. There will be a Yorkshire prize and there will be an open prize. So for people who are living within the Yorkshire area in the UK, and there will be two different themes, so people can actually enter both if they live within Yorkshire. So we are just, because we're expanding, we needed to respond to our expansion in a way. But do keep an eye out for it, and thank you very much for everybody that entered, and hopefully we'll see you again next year. Thank you.